Hello, folks. Breaking video. What a way to conclude Times, affiliates, all of it. Got a new follower on X, a writer who produced a lot of books. I'm not going to get too much into that, but I'm going to tell you, I took a blue door, and as a Canadian, we have to. There is no Republican base in Canada. There's no connections at any level, at least with Canadian chartered accountants or firms ready, willing, and capable of doing Canada the 51st state. They're just not going to do it. I've been through it. I've been to Elections Canada. I've got my new updated list. 3 firms, one of which has mega ties to the Democrats. I reached out, and as early as next week, I'm going to be in a particular place in Ontario. I'm going to leave it at that, but it's going to be looking like we're going to be registering Canada, the 51st state. It comes with some trade-offs, that's for certain. It's a small list. I'm not going to get into it tonight, but we are going to do 6 question and answer, big questions from Canadians. And then we're going to open it up to all of you. Any questions anybody has from the public on Canada, USA, what Canada 51st state would be like, options you may believe in that I've seen come up a lot. I'm going to answer those. I'm going to pin this video in Canada, the 51st state page. But again, it looks like as early as next week, I'm going to be going to a specific place to register this party. We'll see. I don't want to get too excited because it's happened before, but this sounds legitimate. So, and I got media, like I said, New York Times, and some writers from some pretty impressive backgrounds, large followings, now following me on X, and it looks as though my concessions in the blue door have worked out. And I just want to say, while some of these things may upset Americans, I don't think any of them would really upset President Donald J. Trump, as he has a strong track record, even in recent, with Americans on these Democrat agendas of putting them through as a Republican. So I don't know at this time, down the road, these concessions that I will go in at a later date, we'll decide. And like I said, I'm not a powerful person. Intelligent, I suppose. I understand geopolitics. I understand economics. I understand constitutionalism. And I've made that decision, whether people like it or not. But again, there was no way to go with a full Republican-style system in Canada. Now, Americans may not like that, or Republicans may not like that, but you have zero political connections in Canada to get this done. That's a fact. And Canada is largely leftist, and this is as good as it gets for me as a Canadian subject. The blue door, it's otherwise a red commie door, and I can't do that. So I took a concession. It's still American, and I hope it yields. I hope it yields as early as next week, and I have major announcements. Again, you can look at some big sensational people are now following me on X. It's pretty impressive how my day has concluded here. But now, without further ado, I'm going to get into 6 major concepts that have been asked of me. They're big ones, and I want to do that. They're for Americans and Canadians to understand going forward. So first, I want to start with the word conservative and liberal, used very loosely in America now, which are 2 words that historically are absolutely and entirely anti-American. There is no history in Oxford or Webster of anything other than absolutely 100% unequivocally anti-American. Anti-American. And I'm going to prove it all to you now because this was asked of me. So we're going to get into two words, liberal and conservative, what they are absolutely, that after I finish this, anyone can look up and you'll find the truth of it. I did promise to do a major video on it, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to answer the question and give you the absolute background. So the two words conservative and liberal are actually Tory and Whig. That's their real names. That's their full truth. Always and forever, Oxford. There is no truth of any other history or meaning in Webster's dictionary. That's for all Americans and all Canadians. The words conservative and liberal are liberal equals Whig and conservative equals Tory. Now I'm going to tell you what they mean. Now, Whig, liberal, is all about equity of the person, assigned equity, meaning no, there are no citizens and people are not equal in society. There are people born into specific families, lordships, that's liberal, where it's hereditary, meaning these families exist forever and a day. They are lords over people, and they are hereditarily entitled to all the land, aka Canada, and 91% crown land. And even in the limits of private property, 9% in Canada, Whigs and Tories both say only limited amounts, and it's just a matter of people who develop the land and they can rent it off lords, or people who industrialize, commercialize the land, known as mercantiles. That's the only difference. It is anti-American entirely, forever and a day, and has never meant anything other than those definitions, liberal and conservative. So, landed interests fall under the conservative, and commercial global interests fall under the liberal, the Whig and the Tory, neither of which will renounce the crown. They believe that people are born to rule the world. Liberals, Whigs, said it's families. Conservatives say it's one divine person known as an absolute king and all of their heirs. And only those deemed of the royal family are heir to any real rights upon subjects. That's it. That's all there is. Entirely through the entire history of the words, forever and a day, till today, 2025. Americans who use those words are anti-American. Canadians have grown up and instituted in those two words, and they're inseparable. There's liberal and liberal conservative, meaning a mesh of crown in a parliamentary democracy, anti-republic. Okay? Crown land exists in Canada from the Tories, aka the Conservatives. That was their path going forward in the design of Canada. That was their addition. And the Liberals in the design of Canada absolutely enshrined the right of lords, like the House of Lords UK, to make all the privy decisions. Conservatives, the Tories, say that these privy councils, provincial privy cabinets, exist with a governor general or a lieutenant governor, from that the royal king, the throne, the supreme being. Fact, not fiction. Third thing, I get asked, why do the communist parties exist in the UK and Canada as the third oldest republic parties and are a one-party system? Why is that legal when they want to damn the crown? You know what the answer is, folks? For Americans who you should know, up till hopefully next week, it's never been possible. And I have to go through the left side of the spectrum to register Canada the 51st state. Because any attempt to go to the Republic side is blacked out. See? There's only a blue door. That's why I haven't been successful in Canada. I have to go through the Democrat blue door because no Republican red door exists in Canada. That's why the communists were able to do it in 1920. Third oldest parties in Canada, third oldest federal parties in the UK. When I say parties, I mean federal registered parties, because they're part of the blue door, not allowed a red door. Okay? It's right behind me. No Republican red in Canada. So understand that, Americans and Canadians. I know it's a difficult concept. You will be hard-pressed to get any AI to answer that question, why a Republican Party, communist parties, able to register, maintain registry in Canada for more than 100 years, but yet no American two-party style party has ever been able to register in Canada, ever, in all 150 years. When you get the answer, you let me know. I already know the answer. The Crown has eliminated the red door. It's hate America. It's because the blue door offers a chance to change America into subjects again. That's the reason. And it's always been the design of UK and Canada since 1776. Okay, Canadians, why I don't pursue a federal referendum for any kind of Canadians joining the United States. Americans have asked this too. This is a large recurring question. Because like everything I've tried to teach you all about Canada, there is no legal constitutional process for any Canadian to have any federal referendum. Zero, zip, none whatsoever. There is none. To get a federal referendum in Canada, you need to convince the Governor General of Canada to hold such a referendum. And that is decided by the Prime Minister of Canada. You can't do a petition. You can't do a referendum in Canada on Canada the 51st state, or a plebiscite for Canadians to decide. The Parliament of Canada will never ever allow it to go forward, because Privy Council, Governor General who runs Privy Council on advice and consent of the Prime Minister, won't do it. They refuse to do it forever and a day. No red door in Canada. We're an autocracy, there's liberal aristocracy, or there's conservative absolute monarchy. Anyone saying anything else is wrong 100%. Okay, I've had to toss people out of Canada the 51st state page on Facebook. Part of our platform, absolutely, is to join and be a member of this party. It won't change even on the 51st state page or in real life. You have to answer 3 simple questions, and you have to support Donald J. Trump in Canada, the 51st state. You have to support our party in making Canada the 51st state. And there's others. Now, we'll keep memberships at the minimum presidential invite. Now, folks who say, why do you care about Donald J. Trump? Who cares about Trump? He's going to be gone out of office. Folks, Americans and Canadians, there has never, ever, ever been in all of the history of British North America and all history of the Dominion of Canada, there has never been one of any of all the presidents before Donald J. Trump to ever publicly ask, present, run Canada the 51st state. Why this is important. There's a thing called the presidential veto over all American bills. A president does not have to sign into law anything the Senate or Parliament passes into law. Now, they could try to get him impeached, all of that, but when it comes to something like statehood and the history of America, when a president gives you the invite, they're neutralizing their veto. You've already won the executive for Canada, the 51st state. There has never, ever been a president in all of British North America, Dominion Canada, Canada, the country history of any president ever inviting the entirety of British North America, aka Canada, to come into the Union of the United States. Not only doing it publicly, but removing their veto. That's why we roll with President Donald J. Trump, because we've already passed a hurdle that's always been there forever and a day in American and Canadian history, even as America and British North American history. If people don't get that, I'm sorry. This is like the basics of understanding and where we're at and why this is so very important to do in this 4-year window. Okay, specifically for Alberta or Quebec or Saskatchewan, if they ever got there, I think now people are seeing the wisdom of my mathematics and statistics as Doug Ford and Holt have crapped their pants over Quebec. It's all over the news today. And for all of you, my loyal friends and followers, I'm the statistician who pushed that out. I'm the one who rolled it out first. You all know it. And now they're all crapping and they're trying a unity thing with Quebec, hoping to sway the Quebecois. But it's not going to happen. It's too little, too late. Mark Carney, Doug Ford have flip-flopped so many times. Automotives is being destroyed in Ontario right now. Doug Ford said it was disaster 2 weeks ago. Now today he's back on board, paid off by Mark Carney. Now all of a sudden, doing in Quebec, we love you, Quebec, stay with us, just like our automotive sector, right? And Quebec's going to buy that. Plamondon's going to win a majority. And the Liberals are terminated in Quebec like never before. Which means Whigs and Tories have been terminated in Quebec like never before. This is not the same for Saskatchewan and Alberta. Tories are strong, as they've always been in Alberta and Saskatchewan. And that's why independence is very, very extremely unlikely. 90% right now, I'm certain. I'm nearly 90% certain. One more month, and I'll know for sure. I'll be able to say I'm 90% certain Alberta's not going to get independence. And I don't say that to be a prick or I know everything. It's called the mathematical truth of what's in front of us right now. So, question 6. Can a state secretary make a province independent or give them statehood? The answer is no. Everybody with Bissett and everyone saying, oh, look what he said in the media and everybody else, there is no power there, none whatsoever. That is just this. You need Congress and Senate. You need recognition of that province and the breach of the territorial sovereignty. And you also need a referendum for such imposed by either the Allies or at least USA, with still a lot of hurdles in front of it. Massive legal hurdles. So everybody, that's the end of my 6 major Q&A answers. I've given you all my American followers, certainly all my Canadian followers and friends, the truth forever and a day of what Canada really is, liberal, conservative. And just so you know, in all history, all these other multi-parties are just spins of liberal or liberal conservative, because those are the only two that really exist, and the Communist Party of Canada. Those are the oldest, longest running, effectual parties in Canada. That's it. The others are just twisted portions to lock in votes and sway back and forth from Whig to Tory. That's the truth. All 100% anti-American forever and a day since 1776 till right now today. I give this video on Canada, the 51st state, and whether or not we're going to have a registration through the blue door as early as next week. I can make the announcement that we're well on our way, and then there'll be travel. It would probably be about 90 days maximum after that, and we'll have a legal party registry. For Americans, Republicans that may be angry, to understand Canadians, to move the masses, you need the legal party registry. I know this because look where Alberta independence is. Astronomically, look where Quebec separation is. Look where astronomically Bloc Québécois are. Unfortunately, you see how there's no red door behind me, but there's absolutely the blue door. At least we have that much of America here, a window of help. But I'm going to say this. Canadians don't move without government permission. They need to see a legal, permissible party to be able to go forward. We're not going to grow very much more than a fringe if I don't register the party. And the proof is in the pudding with Alberta independence. That party that was so ineffectual but hit the radar with our legal registration is now 100-fold its size. Still not enough effectually, but what will it be in 10 years from now or 30 years if they keep that registry going and they keep at it? This is what I have to do for Canada, the 51st state. Now everybody, I want to get hit with questions from the public. Anything you want, it's live. I do this live. No notes, no cheating, no computer, but I do use the glasses so I can read your comments. I see the hellos. I missed the beginning. Tuned in on registered. Well, Claudio, we're looking at that. I'm going to know as early as next week that if we have a chartered accountant. It's looking very good. But there's trade-offs. Trade-offs I've had to make. Oops. Let's see here. What do we got? Oh, Arizona, USA. So great to be down there with my folks. Yeah, Foster, it's good. You're lucky. It's nice. I need a trip to the States too. Let's see what else. They're all not the real Royals. That Tracy, again, Whig or Tory, which royal's the real royal? This is the problem with Canadians. Who cares? It's anti-American. It's anti-human being. I don't care which is the real crown of UK. I could care less. I don't want a crown of the UK. I don't want a crown in Canada. I don't want superior human beings running my life, making the laws that govern me, and tax me without any representation, none whatsoever. And an illusion of democracy where I'm less than they are. We're not on equal footing. We're not equal human beings. They are lords. I am serf peasant. Garbage. I don't want any more. And I definitely don't want a class of people like Nazi Germany, South Africa, apartheid, where they're deemed savages. I don't want to be in a country that does that. That's anti-American too, contrary to what people know or believe. I'm not mad at anybody. I just state these for the public. It's for public education. Problem is, I gotta scroll through everybody. I wish they'd just put comments. Oh, anything I can do to help. Yeah, everybody, there's going to be a ton for everybody to do to help. Our party board, if everything goes well next week, and this is happening, and I have that, and I secure the chartered accountant in the firm, and I do that, and I'll pay, that's okay. I'll retain all that. We can go forward. Yes, we're all going to get very busy. Facebook Lives are going to be going way, way down, and only for general updates, probably for a few months. And so many of us are going to come together. We do have a board. We have people all over Canada for that. Quebec, Ontario, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, BC, goes on and on. Atlantic Canada, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, PEI, and of course Newfoundland. So there's all provinces are there, and the 3 territories. We even have those folks. First Nations as well too. We're going to be doing a lot, all of us together, in Zooms. And we're going to be starting again, if everything goes well next week, and I can confirm that, yes, we're going to get registration, and we're going through that. We're going to launch again party registration forms, what people have to do, what oaths they have to sign with us. No oath of allegiance crap, none of that. It's an oath that you will be true to what America is and the Constitution of the United States, and true to this party and we the people, and that you will want to see constitutionalism done. There's no cheating or going back to the crown. There's going to be legalities involved in there too, non-disclosure agreements, all of it, and liability forms. So we're going to get into that. Anyone wants to be part of the party, no cost, none of that, but it will require those things, liability forms and non-disclosure agreements. And it'll come, like I said, with liability, financial liability. Okay, what's happening over the next few weeks in regards to China deals? Well, Keith, it's already kind of a done deal. I see Canada, as you should all have seen, Mark Carney denounced everything. He's a flip-flopper. Remember, Whigs and Tories are notorious liars. Always have been since the 1700s under Crown. They don't think Americans, including Donald J. Trump or any Democrat, doesn't matter. You're not on equal footing. You're Yanks. Americans, Canadian subjects, absolutely, and savage First Peoples, the Indians, under the Indian Act. You're not equal people to them. They are superior human beings in every way. You are filth on the bottom of their boots. And they feel the same about Americans. They really do. They're disgusted with Americans. They think they're hereditarily entitled to everything they have, and that they are chosen by God in some kind of fascist, sick socialism to do what they do, and that America is an affront to their world of superiority, that it's wrong. It's wrong. That there should be entitled people hereditarily born to rule over us forevermore. And that it's their right because they're superior. Lords, in fact. It's why it starts with House of Lords. Lords of the land over all of you. So, China, they're going to keep going forward. Lie to Trump, tell Trump one thing, then publicly tell Canadians another. Like, I just told the old bastard what he wants to hear. If you guys haven't heard from the Secretary of State, well, he did a video. He said that's a bad position to take for USMCA. But they don't care. They will never give up their crown willingly. We got to have this party registered. We need it now, coming shortly before USMCA is scrapped. Who is the Kingdom of Canada.ca Queen Romero Dildo? Well, I know it's Didlo, Didulu, but I call her Dildo because, Rudy, I'm sorry, she's a big fraudster, a lunatic, a radical, a heavy Marxist. Nothing she says is true. She's a lunatic. Filipino, that should say everything. Sorry, I'm not cutting down Filipinos, but do you think she's got any kind of royal prerogative, or she's going to get you to not pay taxes or not pay your mortgages? Everybody that woman and her crazy has impacted has lost everything, gone bankrupt. I know people have lost their entire businesses, all their land, their life savings. That's a cult lunatic, probably hired by the crown itself to fool so many willing subjects who easily get conned. It's a con job. You can't not pay your taxes. You can't do all these lunatic things. You'll go to jail. You'll go to jail. The crown is the crown. They have the military and police might over all of us, the less than human being subjects. And worse, you could be a savage person. You want to see about land loss? You want to see about poverty? You want to see about living on nothing? Try being a reserve Indian in Canada. Dildo, as I call her, is a fraudster, a charlatan, probably working for one of the Whigs or the Tories, aka liberal or liberal conservative. Oh, here we go. Gilbert says, can USA military take action against Canada since Trump made fentanyl a weapon of mass destruction? There is a lot the president can do in military intervention outside of declaring war on Canada. And it's called the United Nations Security Council and the UN Charter that gives those 5 allies absolute power and authority over international law, peace, and security. Absolute. One or all. In the case of Canada bordering the boundaries of the United States of America, yes, Donald J. Trump is almost unlimited. He can also terminate any treaty he wishes without anybody stopping him. There's no Congress, Senate, administration. The military and police in the United States must act on the constitutionality of the president when he's exercising his powers as president. Very small in America, he's a mouse, but outside of America to the rest of the world, he is the Incredible Hulk, Godzilla, if he wishes or she wishes to be. That's the truth of president. The power over canceling any treaty they want, power over national security, anything they want according to the UN Charter, and the powers bestowed on the United States executive through that United Nations. Fact, 100%. If you ever want to question it, go ask why Putin is able to do what he's doing in Ukraine. Because he's doing it under the UN. his power as the United Nations Security Council member. That's how he's doing it. How does China hold Taiwan? Same way. How does UK hold all of the Commonwealth? How does France hold all of those specific islands, colonial assets? It's supposed to be illegal in the world because they're UNSC P5 members, and all of their leaders, whether it be Prime Minister or President, which all of them are President except for one Prime Minister under a king. That's how they do it. UNSC P5, which none of those five will ever give up their power, regardless of what the lunatic Mark Carney tells you. Yes, Donald J. Trump can do so much in military intervention short of declaring war on Canada. But under national security, international peace and security, he most certainly can do massive. That's why he was able to do Venezuela, and there's nothing Congress and Senate can do to stop him. He didn't declare war. He didn't usurp the government. He left them in place. He said, under UNSC laws and my power, because I'm President of the United States, I get to do all this. And the military must respond. They have to. It's their job. It's in treaty. It's in the charter. World War II victorious allies. Did I secure an account yet, Dave? If you missed it, MC, it looks really good. Democrats are helping me. The blue door I got behind me. Because in Canada there's no red door. There's none. Never have been, never will be, until we get registered. I'm going to turn the light for the first time, I hope, in Canadian history. I'm going to turn on the Republican red door. I'll be the first Canadian. You will all be the first Canadians to do that ever in Canadian or British history. You like that? I hope. It's not for sure yet. John asked me, is Quebec going to separate completely from Canada? Mathematically, as I'm looking at it right now, from 1995 till today, there's never been a time ever in Canadian history with Quebec where they've been this powerful as the Separatist Party with such a little Tory Whig opposition. They've got half the power Liberals had before. The Whigs have always had a tremendous amount of power over Quebec, and there's a reason for that. Catholicism. I'm not going to get into too much detail, everybody. I'll let you all figure that out with your Liberal and Conservatives. This is Catholic versus Anglican. It's the old history of Protestant and Catholics. Anglican versus Catholic. That's Canada. English, French. Sorry, that's the truth. Yes, I believe Quebec is, to finish that, John, sorry, I believe Quebec is at its strongest it's ever been to separate from Canada. It's so strong, and now Doug Ford and Susan Holt are coming out, and there's others, they're going to be speaking about it in the weeks, as their best analysis are coming to my conclusion. Whether people like it or not, I'm a mathematician. That's what I was tested, and that's what they told me, a visual mathematician. I don't know. I did well in business. I do well with numbers, way better than all of you know I do in reading and literacy. Language. Don't have those skills. I'm below average. I'm getting stronger because I read a tremendous amount and I can comprehend it, which is a beautiful thing, but yet I can read so much, and when I go to write, I still can't get my grammar right. I still make spelling mistakes, and my brain just doesn't work that way. I'm geared the other way, high visual mathematician. And now the best of these parties is slowly coming forward going, we got a unity crisis. Quebec, by the best experts, backing up what I told you guys days ago, probably the only Canadian talking about it, looks to be that Quebec will win a referendum on the road they're going now. They've never been this strong with such less opposition. It's so scary, in fact. They're all speaking up now, trying to unify Quebec, but it won't work. Okay, it's true the Commonwealth Dog and Pony Show has to end. The system is designed to protect the system. It's never been fair. I'll do what I can because I truly believe the 51st state is the only way. And that's great. That's true, Paul. 100% I agree with you. We the people are toast. If you're a working Canadian, a small business, even medium business owner, not tied to the Crown First Class, you're done. You should already know you're done. And I know so many of you older or at least came into money in the last 20 years. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to put an age on this. But I'm going to say if you weren't of substantial wealth, get invested in property, that limited 9% property, half of which being available to you, the other is lease only anyway, because the Crown's got half that too, never mind the bulk of all the Crown lands. But if you're one of those people, working Canadian, and you're not into that property at all, your life is finished. And those who are, the valuations of your homes far exceeding their actual value, and that's some kind of nest egg, retirement, or income generation egg on multi-properties, that's largely going to come to an end for you one way or another. We can do it the best way, 51st state way, where its impact is the least and you have still a chance at economic growth, or we can let the Crown take it all away from you, and they will. And you will be left pants down, especially in communism where nobody owns nothing. They make sure you're booted off your land. Crown's always done that anyway, but I hate it when it scrolls. Okay, I did the Gilbert. You had another question that is similar to the same one I just answered. I am in Ontario. Can I move to Alberta? You can, but you'll find I'm an Albertan my whole life. Every province is crooked. Every province in this Crown is bad. What they don't thieve from you in one taxation, they get you in another. I don't see any real difference between Alberta, Quebec, and Ontario, except the different ways they tax the hell out of you. That's the truth. And then at the end of the day, in my experience, as a working person, a living Canadian, I didn't notice anything better about the other. Where one has a little bit lower income tax, the other is higher, then there's a PST, or there's a hidden tax, or there's an excise tax, or sin taxes, and at the end of the day, they're all robbing the hell out of you. Taxation without representation, and you're not getting the benefits of. And all you got to do is look at your municipalities, your overland valuations. I personally, if I had holdings in any province, I'd just stay where I was. But if you're renting, that's up to you. Do whatever you want. But remember, just because something's cheaper in respect, it's because there's no opportunity. Alberta's a rough go right now. A rough go. Hence, I'm working in Ontario. Because I care about my family, I do what I have to do. Not because I want to, or be 3,400 miles away from my family. It's because I have to if I want to generate a decent income. And I have to live accordingly, which isn't great, but I do it. It's all to each their own. I don't tell people how to live their life. Just don't believe that in this Crown system, the grass is greener anywhere in Canada, because it isn't. It's all the same pile of brown, moldy grass. It's just a matter of how much in which area, what kind do you like or really hate. Do I think Trump will do military intervention in Canada sooner than later, or ultimately that's where it's going? If Mark Carney continues on his path, if the premiers continue on their path, building up China? Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. To me, that's what will ultimately happen, because it always has with all the UNSCP 5. It's sanctions, trade embargoes, which we're already in. What do you think tariffs are? And when those don't have the effect anymore, and they still can't break these regimes, they always go to the worst case military intervention and wipe it out. Look at Venezuela, sanctions, trade embargoes, and eventually military intervention by the United States. You will find all P5 members do this routinely since World War II. Sorry, they've done it, all of them, and some really bad. Executions happen, assassinations happen, and it's not fair. I'm not allowed to say murder when it comes to the Allies or assassination. It's execution, really, legal execution. Can go that far. Anne asks about a spring election federally. That's not good right now. If you want Mark Carney in a super majority, latest polls show a mass exodus from all the socialist parties straight to Mark Carney, and the only thing left for conservatives is their loyal Tory base. It really all folds into one thing: Tories and Whigs. So which superior human being do you support? Which one? A whole bunch of globalist families of monarchs, or the one true monarch, King Charles III? Which one do you want to be? Conservative or liberal? Tell me, which one? None of those interest me in any way. And there's a cold day in hell before I become anti-American. Even if the only door I have is blue, I'll take the blue door. If it'll get the ability to make the red door for the first time in Canadian history, I'll take that. I don't even care what the crown does to me. Okay, can we as citizens, when we, the people, become the 51st state, hold these corrupt politicians accountable? It would sure be nice to their wealth stripped from them. Yeah, this is the cool part about why, Roger, you've been with me a long time. So Alberta independence, why I went with the Allies in World War II and left the Canadian system. We could have held the politicians to account. UNSC always does that. They always do that. Yeah, through the hog, they always do that. And if it was Canada, through all 5 allies, or penmanship from the 3, that would happen. But a U.S. only recognition and then subsequent statehood, chances are it wouldn't matter Donald Trump or a Democrat president or any president. To gain that 51st state, they would likely trade it off because they can't breach the binding laws. They can take Canada as a state, but it gives the Crown the negotiating power. If we don't win party status and win the title of Prime Minister, if we did that, we most certainly could, through we the people constitutionalism, see that done. And yes, international law and precedent, especially with the beauty of the United States of America, you bet we'd liquidate all of them. And there is nowhere any of them can go once we're all made American citizens, which terrifies them the most. The IRS and the United States Constitution has reciprocity in almost the entire world. They'd have to go to military dictatorships like North Korea. Oh, sure, Trudeau could escape to North Korea if he trusts that Kim Jong-un would allow him to have his money and make him part of their regime. I doubt it. I think Trudeau would be beheaded there, and all his wealth would be in Kim Jong-un's vault. And there's other countries, but not very many. Not very many that USA doesn't have an absolute foothold in. Trudeau and all these marks could never escape to Russia. They certainly couldn't escape to China. UK, France, have reciprocal agreements with USA, they would turn them over just to save their own unholy skins. That's how the crown is. Eat their unborn, eat their firstborn. They don't care. These are evil, sick people, socialists and fascists. When I say that, it's not a joke. That's the definition, the ultimate definition. Dan Skeeman. Is it critical to register as a party? Otherwise, one could run as an independent. No, it's critical to register the party. Again, Canadians need to see the permission slip from the Crown. Oh, this is legal. I'm permitted to do this. I'm permitted to be me. Until Canadians see that legal registry, they're not going to follow it. Independent candidate, that won't work. It won't work. And you still need to have that platform published and on the ballot. Independent candidate, that doesn't give anything to anyone on a ballot. That's just the way it is. That's Canada. That's institutionalization. Would Trump support 51st State Party, or would he remain silent? He'd never remain silent. Of course he would. Of course he would. The trade-offs I made in the Blue Door, he may not like. I already know a couple he's not going to like. But ultimately, it's American. It's the first time bringing the Republican Red Door. So he's made those trade-offs. I've seen him make similar trade-offs to get where he's going in MAGA. So honestly, I think he still would support us, especially legal and there, and then attracting more and more Canadians and watching that go boom, 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 boom. Yeah, he would. I believe he would. Love Red, me too. It's sad, but this video is a visual representation of Canada in truth. The only door I can go through, that's the best way to say it, and possibly go through. It's a small door, small little blue door. Oops. Okay, P5 powers Trump's right, but how does it affect us in Canada since we are finger puppets of UK? Can USA do it against UK's interests? Absolutely, they already are. They always do. It's USA's national interest, not UK's. And might is right. UK doesn't hold a candle to the United States. This isn't 1800s anymore. USA is the world's superpower. And they hit way, way beyond their size in tech and in fighting force. Way beyond. It's now or never for them. They see it. Why did they reallocate most of the Somalian people to Minnesota? It's just Democrats in all their migration, the refugees. They set up their Democrat strongholds. A sea of red, islands of blue, mega cities, that's one of them. It's a Democrat stronghold, especially in northern states where it's so polluted from Tory, lifetime Tory and Whig propaganda against the northern states. Look at New York, look at others. It's just an effect of being institutionalized by Canada. Especially those Democrat strongholds. They've gotten warped, right? It's just sad. It's really sad. No, I had a question. Yeah, after Adam, yeah. Look at this. Oh, shoot. Oh, does We the People Constitution need to be written during registration? No. We the People Constitution of the 51st state, Canada, is done by the people of Canada after we win at least a minority, meaning we have the title of Prime Minister with the power to appoint Governor General. We just take Prime Minister in a minority with Governor General, Prime Minister appointed. They walk into Congress on any given day of the week. Hi, I'm PM blah 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 from Canada. This is my Governor General. We're applying for statehood. We wish to go through the Enabling Act. Done deal. That's it. Congress won't say no. President has removed the veto, gave permission. Congress and Senate develop that act, hand it back to Canada. Here's your timeline. Probably a year, maybe two. All precedent is 1 to 2 years. We have to follow that to a letter. We, the people, have to go through. We have to have a constitution formed by the people. That's easily done in today's technology. With internet, all of it, town halls, digital and live, can easily be done right across Canada. As long as we secure through minority prime minister, all we have to secure is all our crown appointments. And we make that happen. There's nothing any legislature, parliament, opposition, anything can do about it. Because I'm going to show you in platform that will be published during registration, during our party registration. Of course, that's going to go up for everybody publicly. And we'll show you all those appointments, the thousands of Canadians we need. Average, everyday Canadians. Sure, there's some specialized Canadians there, but there are thousands of regular, everyday Canadians needed for this to secure all provinces, all territories, all key areas of what's called customary law, the Crown override. Non-elected but appointed positions that are the regime behind the scenes that most Canadians know nothing about. Robert says there are reasons why the statehood question has not been achieved in Puerto Rico, Guam, Washington District of Columbia. Well, Washington, D.C. never will be because it's the capital. It's never going to be a state. It's the federal epicenter. It's the federal government, its home base of the entire government of the United States, federal government of the United States. It never will do statehood. It can't be. It's a district. It's the federal government district of the United States, a specific piece, the district of federal government, all of it. As for Puerto Rico, Guam, and there's others actually, the reason why they're not statehood is they haven't completed the Enabling Act or don't want to pursue it or don't have the population to get there or the sustainability to be a state of the union. Those are the only reasons, no other reason. They need absolute federal support, aka their territory. And they'll remain that way till their population or their economy or their ability to finish the Constitution as rolled out through an Enabling Act, like all the other states of the Union, is completed accurately. Yeah, Dems have been pushing it. Yeah, absolutely. But it's one thing to push something. It's another thing to get the people to do it. Remember, everybody, even if a prime minister with governor general applies, America doesn't force annexation. They need you to choose. After everything's done, the people of Canada, that's why it's so important. It's not a handful of people writing and cramming a constitution down the throats of Canadians, but to get the real we the people in every town hall, district, Indian Reserve, all of it done. voted through by and for the people because they participated. The government exists in that year or 2 years mandated by the Congress and Senate of the United States to make sure all the people are involved. We have to. That's why we need all the Crown appointments. That's why every town, hamlet, village, reserve, doesn't matter, big city, all of it, every Canadian has to be reached. Every Canadian has to have the ability to participate, because when they do, it's their constitution, it's their ideas, then they vote for it, aka the referendum. If you have everybody participate, they're more likely to vote yes in the referendum than having nobody and only a handful of appointed autocrats like what Canada is. And then the people don't even know their identity or really support anything other than me robot, me slave. Well, when all the people get to hammer all these ideas out with the world's greatest academics on a big screen or even live, depending, but they tour Canada, and all the people's questions are answered, all the people are entitled to participate, you're likely to win a referendum. And every time it's been done in U.S. statehood, the referendum passes. So that's what has to happen. That's what we roll out in platform. Will the universal health care stay the same or wipe out, since it does not automatically get transferred to the 51st state party? Universal health care is a district model, public side. It's an excellent model to replace the centralized system of health care in the United States. Public. So for Americans and Canadians, we are not talking about private health care. We're talking about America's broken public centralized system that's unconstitutional. It's supposed to be by the states. The only thing Canada has that America doesn't is they've created that district model, developed off the judicial district model of the United States. Canada did that. The provinces did that. They're all color-coded by population, just like every other kind of American district, which they have many onions of layers of districts. It's why it's an extremely powerful federalism. But Canada did that for healthcare public. Again, we're not talking private. American private is awesome. That should come to Canada. Canada as a 51st state will present universal health care. Absolutely. Why wouldn't you? It's way cheaper than USA's and way more effectual. What's broken with it is our unimaginable mass immigration that supersizes per person per capita all of America's illegal immigration. The ICE system that would have to go through Canada is like 9 times the size of USA's to date. That's what America has to do with the Canada, the 51st state. There are 8 million non-Canadians here. Way over and above anything America dealt with through ICE as of today. It's a really scary thing, really, for America. It will take an expansion for a period of time in a 51st state delivery, really, to match America. And healthcare costs will go down even more publicly, and their effects will go through the roof. That's the interesting thing about matching district model with district model, aka the Constitution of the United States. It's a beautiful thing. I know a lot of people don't understand this. This is something that has to be talked about at a higher level with higher government reps, Congress and Senate through the Enabling Act, but it will be mandated. It's part of the Blue Door requirements. There's more, but I'm going to go through those at a later date, or if people ask me the right questions today. Oh, Robert says the American healthcare system has been compromised by deals between crooked politicians and the private healthcare insurance industry. Well, that's the beautiful thing. Businesses in America will love this. The American citizens will love this, especially those under the economic value. So we get the best of both worlds. We get to limit the corruption of the American private sector system, and we get to end the centralized public system federally of the United States. Bring it back to the States, because the Canadian model will be able to be universally applied across all states, and we can actually win that in a Supreme Court challenge. It doesn't matter Republican or Democrat. We absolutely, according to the Constitution of the United States, Canada's model absolutely passes the constitutional test of America. It should be the healthcare system post 1787, but because of the Continental Army, Washington's Army, and the promises they made for universal centralized healthcare for them, that's now spilled over to all these offshoots and it's become a real communist stain on America, to be honest. I'm just saying, to be honest, right? But yes, both systems will auto-correct each other and strengthen them together. It'll save annually $7 trillion. Lots of Democrats are behind that, and a lot of Republicans are too. OMC, you're asking again, did you secure an accountant yet, Dave? That's what I'm working on next week. I'm going through a blue door. It looks like we may very well have. That's why I'm doing this in preparation. It looks very good. So I hope you got that. It looks very good that next week I'm going to secure that. It looks very good. But I'm not going to promise anything yet, but it looks very, very good. Our politicians on both sides are on the take. Sure, Robert, but here's the thing that Americans have that we don't. They have grand juries. They have 6 states of the union at the district level where most certainly any 2 Americans can take even the President of the United States to court, have them indicted, and turn the justice system on them. Any 2 Americans. A lot of Americans don't know this. It's not readily available education, but I know for a fact, as a Boilermaker, a Canadian Boilermaker and an international, my American brothers and sisters, low education, no money, no power, absolutely did that to a big mafia boss that went all the way through to Ukraine and corruption. Russia, Ukraine. For real. And they took him down. They took him down. We've seen politicians taken down through that system, not readily educated to the American people. Canada, the 51st state, will not only educate that, it will enshrine it in its constitution. That's a Republican feature, a predominantly Republican feature, and that's part of the red door that's dark right now, but that will be lit up when we're registered, and that will be part of our platform. So thanks for the question. Well, I think I got everybody's questions, I hope. If you didn't get your question answered, everybody, please put it right now in comments. I'm going to count to 10 in my head. I'm going to watch. Okay, Robert, the attraction of Alberta and the other system is the infusion of legitimate new ideas that have been proven to work. Yeah, it would be good if we got those new ideas, but in the parliamentary democracy run by Whigs and Tories, that's never ever going to happen. Not in independence, not when we're not going to be a We the People Republic working in the Canadian model Clarity Act system. It's a whole bunch of hula hoops designed that you can never achieve what you do, just waste all your money. Okay, Jonathan LaBelle. What would you estimate tax rates for the working class as Canada, the 51st state? The average tax rates would be about 45% cheaper income tax-wise. Across all income brackets, they're going to change. And that's income tax, which is still monumental. But there's a pile of taxes, both provincially and federally, that are illegal in the United States. So we have to go through the Constitution, rip all those out. We have to deal with debt. States are not allowed to have out-of-control debts. Of course, our economy goes up, but there has to be constitutionally a provision in place how we're going to pay our debt off to an average state level that's legally required in statehood. I mean, Texas came in broke, penniless, with a massive debt. It took them 13 years to get to where they had to be, and they did do that. There is suffrage, I'm not going to lie. It's not like it's just, wow, overnight we're magically fixed Canada. There is a period of transition as a state. Never mind getting statehood, but once statehood's established, there's a period of us correcting everything. And yes, that's why accountability and why we need to build the party. We need to win the election. We need to do it because at least we can liquidate that corrupt class that stole so much money. A lot of it we can recover, and America would really like that, and they have the system already in place to deliver that. But again, it has to be us in our party on our terms, because if it's a failed Mark Carney who's scared shitless and he decides, well, it's better to make a deal with America now, turn tail and run, which they are cowards. Tories and Whigs have always been elite cowards. So, thanks for the question, Jonathan. That's pretty important. Grandma D says our money would be worth 30% more, no deficit, less taxes, $2 gas, sign me up. Yeah, you're 100% right. Like I said, there's no doubt on all the perks of joining America. The economics makes total sense. The biggest thing beyond all that, everybody, is the monumental end of Crown land. It's a monumental of land released first to the First Peoples and settlements, including American Indians tied to that. It's their deals, and then a tremendous amount of land made private for all Canadians, all Americans. It's really going to be a wagons north, like wagons going out west. It's wagons north, but in the modern time. I don't think people realize just how explosive this really is. There's the awesomeness of a lot of stuff that you know right away, but there's so much beyond that where it's like, this is going to be a golden boom age, an age of American expansionism and super wealth accumulation. Think of the hundreds of millions of Americans joining us in developing this land, this country, the right way, with water as life. First Peoples need a monumental education. That's why, just like Canadians, that's why the 1 to 2 years of constitutional conventions and president at that point, once we're 51st state, they're going to be doing all the Indian settlements. That's another beautiful thing too, right? They negotiate that. So all the First Peoples have to look at is look at what all the Indian states got, and that's huge. And Canada, AI predicts to be at 1/5 of Canada. No joke. And Canadians probably go, what? You know, you don't even know what the other 4/5 looks like to you. It is more than Canadians could ever comprehend. It's just so much. Like, Canadians just don't know. And all the classic cars, that's right. Okay, Kevin says, just a comment, I was on an Indian site. They were talking a lot about comments and how afraid they are to enter the United States right now because of what's going on with ICE. As long as they're of blood quantum, they're okay. It's when it's clearly not a First Nation or clearly like, wow, you got blonde hair, blue eyes, and pale skin, right? And you're in USA right now on J Treaty, meaning you're holding a status card because some band adopted this person, whatever deal, a corrupt chief, right? Because in Canada that's okay. It's not okay in USA. They take the Buffalo, the Indian very serious. Very serious. They're Indian citizens. There's American and there's the American Indian citizen. Two separate and equal citizens. Yeah. They take that very, very serious. So if you know you're not of blood quantum, I'm not saying like, oh, I'm only 32% whatever and you got J card. Fly under the radar. Don't be going there, I'm going to protest ICE. I'm an American Indian, right? And you know your blood quantum isn't under American law. Yeah, you're in trouble. And there has been ones busted. I watched that video. I was like, whoa, whoa. That's why I made the videos I made. Yeah, that's a good one, Claudio. I wonder if the Canadian lawyers are going to have to learn American law. Yeah, all that oath stuff, gone. Oxford to Webster's. We're going to have to address that in statehood. We're going to have to address that in Congress and Senate. Like I said, this takes time. It's a monumental amount of work. It's righteous work. And it's a growth for all Canadians, all First Peoples, and absolutely Americans and the American Indians. It's a beautiful thing psychologically and human-wise, humanity-wise, in natural law, in human rights, in civil rights, in civics. It's so monumental in human evolution and growth, statehood, and what we can give to the world as a beacon of hope. I really do believe that. Okay, everybody, and you all should too, and you should know that in your heart. So, I hope that's it. I think that's all the questions. I hope I've answered them. Can we use AI as a lawyer? Yeah, I wish AI was up for it. To be honest, guys, AI has got a lot of problems still. And until America Webster and these big AI energy and hubs get created, we're still a long way to go with AI. I catch it all the time. And there's a lot of things AI can't really answer. It tries its best in its limited database. But even it says, yeah, I guess you're okay, I agree. You know, it's like, well, how the hell could you just give the 2 rants you gave and then I just bust you as incompetent and incorrect? And then you go, yeah, you're right, okay. You know, I'm just going by my sources. Yeah, Webster shit sources that never answered any Canadian's question or anybody else's questions, and then you're repeating that crap, right? And that comes from corruption of the elites, but that's going to go down as these AI Webster supercenters of the USA go. We better hope they go, because they got to beat UK, France, Canada, European Union. They got to. It's time for America to win on this front. This one, they have to win on, or we're all going to be watching our kids go through hell. That's truth. Oh. Okay, Estelle says, good evening. My mom passed away in August. I just learned that my great-grandmother was pure Indian, so should I apply for Métis? Just wondering. It all depends. It all depends if your great-grandmother was pure, was your great-grandfather half or three-quarter. It's all about blood quantum in the United States. If you don't have 50% blood quantum, you're in trouble on getting recognition, right? That's what you got to wrestle with. I'm not saying don't apply now. If you have the look of it, maybe no one will question it. Go for it. But if you don't, and it's questionable, and we get through statehood, that could end badly for you. It could be ineffectual, but that's up to you. I just tell you what is. I never tell people anything other than the truth, good or bad. See, Grandma D answered too. So, I guess if that is the only last question, I'm going to shut her down. I'm going to give it 10. Okay, God bless everybody. Thanks for joining me tonight. And I will update you. We'll see how this meeting goes, how things come. And I'll let you all know. It's looking really good, though. It's looking really good. God bless. Love you all. Bye now.